Comments in Hermes are like a working partner. The fastest users are not better prompt writers. They know which control surface to use and when to reset the room. That's why the /goal, /tier, /tools, /skill, /q are super important. I'm going to explain you in this video in details which one is doing each. So the / comments, they are not trivial. They are like the steering wheels. They control the context, the timing, the tools, the memory, and the execution method. That's why people need to learn them early, because every comment answers one operator question. Do I define the finish line, steer the active run, queue the next turn, compress, reset, equip, schedule, or recover? Pick the comment from the situation, not from the memory. For example, the new is when the old room is contaminating the next job. This is one of the most important ones. It's going to start a fresh session. So for example, if you have a new project, decision, or you're a confused thread, or want a clean default, you do /new. But you want to avoid using it when you still need the current files, decision, or something that is still in context with what you're working on. You will do it like this, /new, and boom, it says, okay, I have the new one, approve, and we have starting fresh. So no more tokens used in it. It's going to be so good to avoid that. And then you want to use it every time you do a new project, a completely different task. For example, building this presentation and then new, I want to plan my ski trip. Totally different task, right? By the way, this presentation was done by my AI agent from A to Z. That shows you the power. Compress is when you're still in the same chat, same mission, but you just need to keep going. Now, Hermes is pretty smart and it's going to do it by itself most of the time, but it's going to wait for a threshold. And sometimes you want to do it early to avoid spending a lot of tokens and to have something that's going to be faster. It's going to be like that, compress. But now, not enough conversation to compress. That shows you that those comments are actually real and actually work. Because if I had a long one, then it will be able to compress. Example here with the one I was working on for the presentation here, boom, compress, and it tells me that it was okay. Because we can see that right here, Hermes already did the compressing. It's still a really useful comment. Now, /q, one of my all-time favorites, because when I'm working with AI, I usually have another idea that is ready to implement after that idea. It's like, I'm 3 steps ahead. And /q, as its name says, it's going to let Hermes work on a task, and then you just add another task to do it. It's just kind of like if you were having a post-it with the next task, and say like, when you're done, do this task. And it's just queuing them. As an example, I send one task, and then I queue the next task. And then once he has time, then he's going to work on the next task. And boom, it's already searching. Beautiful one. Of course, on Fly Hermes, you will have it working perfectly as well in the web. And if Q is one of my favorite, the second one is tier. I have 3 favorite ones. We're going to come to the third one soon. Tier is basically when you gave something to work on for Hermes, but you need to shape the current loop. Let me give you an example. Your fiancée is cooking some food and you say, please add some salt over there. Now, in real life, you're going to enter into an argument, but with your AI agent, no problem. Her mentor is going to say, yes, I'm going to do that. So the steer is to add some context or to adjust the direction. And it's powerful when you do steer because you're going to be saying like at the next tool that's going to be used by Hermes, instead of stopping the task, it's going to change. I want you to help me build the best AI agent in the world for OpenClaw. Let's say, oh, I did a mistake. I wanted for Hermes, not for OpenClaw. As soon as I see that it starts working on it, I'm going to send the steer. Boom, steer queued. And now it's going to know that we are working on a Hermes agent and not OpenClaw. When you do really long prompt with a voice to text, those kind of errors happen quite often, and the steer is going to be beautiful. If you start to see that he's not using the right skill, the right tools, you steer it in the right direction. It's kind of like adding other instructions. Background is a pretty cool one. So it's when the run should be like beside the conversation in something else. You need, when you're doing it like a long research monitoring or whatever, and then you want something like, okay, you're going to put like background, boom. Background, what's the latest version of Hermes agent? And it's going to start the task in the background. So like that, you can have similar to multi-agent, but it's just going to be for small thing. Like you need a quick search, a quick element. And that's my third favorite one, /goal. So it's when you want Hermes to keep pursuing the finish line across turns. So that's something that you want for making big changes or big tasks. Because instead of having on normal tasks, it's going to try to not do too many turns or too many iterations, which will be like your agents basically talking with the AI, creating and verifying. With goal, it's going to allow itself to use way more loops. In my settings, it's 150. So that means it can go huge on a task. We can see that our background worked perfectly. That's the beauty with Fly Hermes, by the way. You can connect it to your Telegram, to the web. You can use it anywhere you want. And you can find your session of Telegram right here as well on the web. It's using the goal, and that's the perfect thing. Like when you have a big one, and then it's going to look way deeper. It's like a deep search back then. When we started to use that, everyone was like, wow, that's crazy, it's so good. But this for your AI agent. Skill is the one I use a bit less because my Hermes agent is pretty smart now and use the skill most of the time. But if I can see that he's not using a skill, you do /skill and then the name of the skill or something similar. /tool and /toolset, same thing. If you need different tools that are needed for that, it's going to be useful. /model, a quick one, but some people forget about it, is to change which AI model you're running on. For example, if you were doing a website, you want the backend to be done with GPT-5.5, Codex, and you want the front end to be done either by Gemini or Claude. And like that, you could switch the model provider. But if you use Fly Hermes, anyway, there's a smart routing, so you don't need to care too much. Like for example, here, I'm on Kimi 2.5, which is gonna not use much token at all and has like really, really good output. And then after a few ones that I give you for free, /retry, retry the last run, undo, remove the last changes, status to know what's going on, and an important one, stop, /stop. It's going to stop exactly what it's doing on right now. Use /cron. Cron are like for the manage and schedule jobs. Okay. So you want to know what's going on. You want to see which task you did. For example, I could have this task to be done every day where it gives me a new presentation about what we've been working on or what we've been upgrading. I use it personally for customer support. So I have a cron that checks every 30 minutes the mailbox of the customer support. It answers with the AI if it has the answers. If it doesn't, it asks the big boss, aka myself, and I can upgrade them, improve them. Do not hesitate to answer the message from your cron in Hermes to say how you want to update them. Okay, so a strong Hermes command has two layers. First, the outcome, you say create the deck, the finish line. If it's the goal, if you want to use the steer, if you want to use any of the things, that's going to be already really good. So do not try to memorize all the commands, more like recognize the moments, and then step by step, you're going to be able to do it. I didn't remember all those commands right from the get-go. There was no one to teach me those, but hopefully this one will help you a lot more.